you're back. How does it feel?
Yeah, very exciting. Awesome to be back, awesome to get it done, and yeah, just can't wait to be back out there on court.
What's been going on behind the scenes? I've seen you at training working pretty hard, but I mean, it's such a long road to recovery.
Yeah, a lot of work on my body, trying to rebuild the strength from pre-injury and then even surpass that. A lot of credit goes to our high-performance team, Ryan Carroll, Harrison Shaw, Alex Dilger. Yeah, they've just done heaps and heaps of work with me behind the scenes to get me back moving, and yeah, I just can't wait to reap the rewards of their efforts.
Was it a pretty smooth recovery up until now? Like, I mean, how was that sort of journey for you?
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, I have no real reference for recovering from an ACL, but no real hiccups along the way. Everything's gone pretty smoothly, which is great. And yeah, surgery is always tough. Recovering from that the week after was pretty dark and faced some demons in that time, but since then it's all been pretty smooth.
What about the mental side of things? Having to sit on the sidelines while you watch your team go out can't be an easy thing. Did you find that really hard to deal with?
Initially, for sure, it was difficult. All you want to do as a basketball player is be out there on the court, helping your teammates and playing the game that you love. So that part was difficult, but I guess as the season went along, I got more and more used to it, sadly. But yeah, I'm so excited to be back on the court.
And have you spoken to your teammates about being back too? What's their response?
I've kept it pretty quiet up until now, so yeah, they'll find out pretty soon.
So no one knows?
No, not really. No.
Do you have any?
I know you've been with the club for, what is it now, 5-6 years. Like, has there ever been any consideration of leaving, or is it always jack jumpers? Like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love this club, and the commitment they've showed to me through the past couple seasons, especially dealing with a lot of injuries, has been great. And yeah, I just love being here. I love the culture that we've developed, and I can't wait to go and show it again next season.
You spoke about the support from these guys here, but what about the support from the coach? How has he supported you over that time?
Yeah, he's been amazing for my career and my development, not only on court but off court as a leader and trying to push me in those areas. So yeah, we've got a great relationship, and I kind of know what to expect from him and he knows what to expect from me. So yeah, I can't wait to play for him again.
We were talking just before about sort of easing back into playing games. Do you consider looking at NBL1 maybe to slowly sort of ease yourself into it?
You'll have to ask the next person up on this interview, but I mean, it'll just be whether it's appropriate for me to play and get some games under my belt, but at this stage, rehab's going really well.
And you stay here, you don't go overseas and train or look at any other sort of rehab over there?
No, I'll be here for the most part.
Cool. Hey, Shawnee, congrats, mate. Well done. Just tell us about the one-year deal, I guess. Did you consider something longer? Was something else on the table? Can you run us through that?
Keep looking at Lily, beauty.
Yeah, I guess for me, coming off a couple seasons of injury, the focus was just, at least getting one more year and being able to prove what I can do building into the following season. So that was kind of the reason for the 1 year.
Did you have a decision to make? What was there interest elsewhere, or was the Jack Jumpers the only option for you for next season?
Look, there's been interest around the league. Just the nature of sport is teams reach out and want to have the chat, but I think for me it was important continuing my rehab here and I guess rewarding the commitment of the club to me and my rehab over the past couple seasons.
Absolutely. Sorry again if this has already been asked, mate, because I couldn't hear before, but obviously Rocky was pretty adamant about you having the keys to the team last year. Has there been discussions about that for next season or anything?
He hasn't taken away the keys, that's for sure. So yeah, there hasn't been too many chats about that this year, but I know him and I are both excited to rebuild and go at it again next season.
Did you consider playing anywhere over the off-season, or is it all about, I don't know if you're even able to, are you actually back 100% yet, or can you do everything that you'd normally do?
I'm about 1 month away from hopefully being cleared to full play, but it'll just be whether it's appropriate and advised by my high performance team to play anywhere this off season.
If you did, would that likely be NBL1, or do you have any idea what it would be?
I would say so. That would be my assumption at this stage. Yeah, unlikely that I'll be travelling overseas after this.
And could that possibly be in Tasmania, or it's too early to say?
It could possibly be here. Yes.
In the north or the south?
Who knows? Who knows?
And just one on playing for Australia, mate. Obviously, you want to take that opportunity when it comes, but I won't say any regrets because you always want to do it. But do you have to think about what games you do play in a bit more when these injuries happen in non-NBL games, or is that just what happens? You could get injured any time.
Yeah, it doesn't really come into my mind. I don't go into any games thinking I'm going to get injured. So, yeah, playing for Australia is what I want to do, especially down the track, come major competitions and events. So, yeah, if the opportunity comes up again, I'll be taking it.
Absolutely, mate. And just on your recovery, is it like a typical ACL would be 12 months, and I think you did it end of July. So has the recovery gone a bit quicker than you thought it would?
As far as I know, it's usually 9 to 12 months. So, yeah, the 9-month mark will be about mid-May for me post-surgery. So it's all going smoothly. I feel strong, I feel healthy, and feels like a pretty normal knee at this stage, which is nice.
And just on going to Launceston, how often have you been up there and doing the recovery and stuff?
Yeah, we've been up here a couple times, once at the 3-month mark after surgery and then again the 6-month mark. And as far as I know, likely at the 9-month mark as well. So just trying to make sure all my strength and symmetry across both my legs is pretty even, and then, yeah, trying to maintain and even build strength into these late stages of rehab.
Are you sick of hanging out with RC?
He's in the room, so no.
Cool, mate. Thanks for that.
Thanks,
Easy.
mate. One more to
I
Lily.
just have one more. Like when you think about playing again in MyState Bank Arena when it's full with your teammates, what sort of like emotion does that bring up in you?
A lot of joy, to be honest. Yeah, it's a pretty special place to play when the place is rocking. It provides such an advantage for us as the home team, and yeah, I've felt a lot of love and support from the Tassie fans, and I'm very excited to get back out there.
Perfect. Well, do you want to start with a little bit about what recovery has looked like for Sean over the last 9 months?
Yeah, well, it's about 7.5 months now for Sean since the injury itself, obviously with the Boomers, I think late July it was. So as Sean said earlier, the actual progress has been pretty seamless. Like, we haven't had any hiccups, which is fantastic. There weren't any other issues with the knee joints, so that always makes things a little bit easier. But I think really testament to Sean and his work ethic in terms of how much work he puts in. He's a true professional with this injury, and also the season before with his recovery. As much as he might be sick of hanging out with myself and Harrison, he's easy to work with. Whatever task you set him, he'll do 100%. So yeah.
What has rehab actually looked like? Like, what is he doing on a day-to-day basis to help him get to where he is now?
Yeah, well, probably, at this stage he's sort of down towards that mid to late stage. So he's working on his body every day. He'll be in the gym just about 5 out of the 7 days with different exercises. He's doing a lot of extra conditioning as well himself, taking himself off to do some running sessions. He's working with Pilates. Like, he's just adding all these different elements to the rehab process. His strength is where it needs to be, which is fantastic, and he's put in a lot of work. And then on court, the coaches are working closely with him now too, and I think the coaches are getting just about more of a workout than Sean is now. They're chasing him around and doing a lot of contested shooting. He started doing some competitive, one-on-one, just dipping his toe in the water of that at the moment. So yeah, the next 6 to 8 weeks, whatever that is, we'll build on that.
And how have you seen his sort of determination shift over the last, during rehab to be able to get back on court?
I wouldn't say it's shifted. Shawnee's always been a really determined individual. Sean and I go back to junior days as well, and he's certainly faced his fair share of injuries, some short term, some longer term. This one's been probably the longest rehab and recovery process for him. But his drive and determination hasn't wavered. I don't think it's strengthened or weakened. It's always been there, and I think that's why he developed from that first season with us into a valued member of the team, essentially.
And what sort of boxes does he need to tick before he actually gets back on court?
The main thing now is just getting more reps at training. So as I said, his competitive work has just begun. So I think getting his body used to a bit more of the speed, a bit more of the reaction, timing, things like that. And we'll just gradually throw some more bodies at him. So, start with one-on-one and in the half court, and then he'll gradually build out into more, full court reps. And as to how that looks, and, we'll find a few more bodies, whether that is with some NBL1 teams and players, I'm sure that can help us as well.
How How would that work with NBL1? Like, can he come in for a couple of games and use that as a bit of a sort of stepping stone to get back to the Jack Jumpers?
I think there's potential for that, yeah, and that's probably to be discussed over the next couple of months. But certainly having some Jack Jumper input into some of the teams will help us, even if it's just training with some of the guys, because some of the NBL1 players will do extra work, so can we integrate Sean into that as well? Yeah.
When you first heard about the ACL injury, obviously he was away from the group. What do you as high performance manager kind of have to do in that initial stage to get the rehab off to the best start, I suppose? Yeah,
I'm in a unique situation. I was actually there when it happened, so I was on the bench with the Boomers that night. And so when you see him go down, obviously, you feel for the kid. Obviously, it didn't look great, and then your worst fears are recognised, I guess, later that night, and then the phone starts to go off with coaches and stakeholders, asking questions and things like that. So first and foremost, you feel for Sean, because you don't want to see any athlete, let alone someone go through that. And then I think straight onto the planning phase, what do we need to get done? Obviously the Boomers, high performance staff, get all that sorted in the short term, and then when he returned home, then he was under our care for the next 7 months where he is now. So it was a bit of an unusual one, and you never like to see guys go down, but being there in the moment was, didn't make it any easier.
I'm all happy. Brent?
Hey, RC, in the interest of fairness, are you sick of Shawnee?
I'll give a more definitive answer and say no, but Sean is definitely, he's a pro, he's easy to work with, so.
Just keep chatting to Lily.
Sure.
Judy.
Would your advice be to play in NBL1 to get some reps in, or would your advice be not to? What from your expert opinion?
It's probably a bit early to tell. He's only just started the competitive phase, so we want to make sure that he keeps ticking those boxes and recovering well from that, and progressing his abilities. That's probably a discussion more in a couple of months' time, I would say. So we'll see where that lands, but certainly getting some more competitive play and training is going to be important for his recovery, and whether that's with an NBL1 team or whether that's once pre-season's in full swing with us, we'll wait and see.
Yeah, awesome. Has it just been a case of bad luck with these injuries Sean's had, from your opinion? Yeah,
I think majority of them, have been traumatic injuries. Obviously, came off a big off-season into a pre-season injury with the calf. Pre-season's a bit of a heightened risk for that. The Singapore, ankle injury was just landing on the foot. That's just an unfortunate one that ended up costing, 6 to 8 weeks of Sean's training. And then this one again, got bumped as he was trying to make a play for the Boomers. So a lot of it is, we can't sort of help those unfortunate accidents, I guess you call them. It's just meant the last couple of years has been a real challenge.
And just last one, mate, what's Launceston had to offer you, I guess, in this recovery process that you couldn't do in the south?
I guess it's been really important for us to, build on the relationship with the University of Tasmania, who sponsor our high performance team. They're emblazoned on our shirts everywhere. You can't miss them. So working with Nathan Pitchford up here, we knew that they had access to some really good technology, which is gold standard for checking the strength, especially post knee injuries. So it's been important for us just to check on Sean's progress essentially with his strength markers. We've used their force plate data and some motion capture as well, which has really informed, I guess, the next stage of his rehab. Sean's also worked really closely with Harrison, our strength conditioning coach. So especially the last sort of 4 or 5 months, H has been on the bag. He's been rebounding, he's been chasing around, he's programming Sean's gym sessions. He's been huge in this process. But coming up to University of Tasmania, using their fantastic facilities here has been a really important piece for Sean's recovery.
So I'm Dr. Nathan Pitchford. I'm a senior lecturer in exercise and sports science here at UTAS.
Perfect. Well, we heard a little bit from Ryan about sort of the equipment that Sean used here, but can you just further expand on that?
Yeah, so Sean's been coming up for us for 2 different testing sessions at the 3 and 6 month time points. We've looked at leg strength and looking at symmetries between his left and right leg, and also different muscle groups within the injured leg as well. But some of the biggest bang for buck stuff that we've been looking at in some of the state-of-the-art facilities we've got here has really been that motion capture side of things, and looking at movement quality and how he actually moves in different jump movements and different change of direction movements as well.
What was your assessment of the actual injury?
Personally, didn't do any. We get contacted by Ryan. We've got some really good partnerships with the Jack Jumpers. I've known Ryan for quite a length of time across some different sporting organisations we've worked across, and he reached out to me based off the back of some work that we've done with some other sporting organisations here in Tasmania in supporting the rehabilitation processes of some professional athletes.
So he'll come back here at the 9-month mark to get cleared.
As far as I'm aware.
What does that look like?
A repeat testing. So we try not to introduce anything too new to the mix. Obviously in the early phases we're doing some pretty basic strength markers, and as he goes through the process of rehabilitation and introducing into those movement-based drills, we do some movement-based analysis, which is what we've worked through with the 6-month time point, and we'll probably repeat that at 9 months again.